we have to go back to the empty self, the rock bottom self, the broken, the crashed version. Now, question: who is going to shake off the graveyards inside of you? And you're empty. You need to find a trustworthy source that you can be vulnerable, that you can tell your story. Even you cry, even you get mad, they will never care about that. All they care is you, establishing you by helping you reframe the story. And I learned storytelling in business, and that was powerful. You get to attend a Wednesday business preview with the same speaker, with the same script.
Hmm.
That's powerful
Over and
because
over
the
again.
way that, yeah,
Yeah.
and the law of repetition states that the more, the more you tell it, the more you listen, the more, you subscribe to it. You're this big guy here will always find a way to redefine it and find a better vocabulary, but it needs some shaking. I say shaking because when you notice when people are very convicted, the way that they speak things speaks different volumes. Like there's the trembling when they're talking about the hard part, and there's this big grin when they feel the success. Because when you're in a community, people with different vibrations, people with different perspectives, people with different stories, there's one thing that your brain does: observe. And if you attune to your brain's capability to use all your senses. And I'm not only talking about the five, there's seven, right? You have the six, the vestibulocochlear, which is the one here, like the balls that has the liquid inside, that creates the coordination of your body. And the seventh sense, which is the balance. Your whole body's peripheral nervous system connects to central nervous system to tell it, is your body still in sync with what you're doing? And when I learned that, Eli, the biology of life in senses, I exposed myself to communities. And I didn't care if they were strangers, if they were helpless, I didn't. I found that every community has a set of leaders. And I said, if I can mirror the very great things that they have been doing every day, I'm going to spend the time with them, no matter how long it takes. I have late nights, early mornings every day, Eli, when I entered business. I get only 3 to 4 hours of sleep, even up until now with my creative side. And if I'm like going out of work and engaging with different people, yeah, I used to I used to only belong in a community where I was the follower,
Hmm.
but there was a call to action deep inside. My heart was telling me, your heart is so big. Why not you learn the things that leaders are doing and bring that community to them? That was what Bo Sanchez taught me. And one facet that I can tell that I started leading was my service in this community, in this charismatic community. Eli, I'm not religious, but here's my role in the community.
You're talking about the community of the feast?
Yeah, the feast.
Okay.
Because this is where I learned leadership really the most compared to the business model.
Hmm.
Because
Hmm.
the business side was more of like the technicality of how you
Yeah.
can hone yourself.
And there's
But
always the focus on the short-term agenda of trying to,
yeah,
yeah.
which
So,
which for which for me, belonging needs the long term, the lifeline,
right.
the lifeline. And my role in the feast back then, and now I'm coming back after the pandemic, I have to read the scripture confidently in an audience of 800 attendees at least. And I did that every Monday and Saturday, Eli, for at
That's
least 4 to 5 years.
powerful practice.
You know what happened? You know what changed?
What's that?
It's not only the communication, it's my heart. When I see people speaking, preaching, talking about the story, talking about concepts about life, I felt that I felt that they were in that position too. Humble beginnings. That's what community teaches you first. Humbling yourself, learning from the best, so that when you are called later on to be that person, to establish the eternity of community, when you're called, you have no choice because you already know how it is, and your heart is so convicted
Mm,
because you're humbly starting at the beginning.
nice.
You can develop that. And that's where I found the profound leadership in me.
Love it.
People didn't know about me, but why do they care to listen to me? Why do they give me that sense of, hey, you're worth listening to? And that's where I found the leadership spirit in me, Eli. It
Nice.
never, what was that? I never felt I was in a cage. I felt I was in a marathon. I was not sprinting. I was not crawling. I'm just walking. I'll show up every time. And that's what community taught me. Regardless if you're 80%, 0%, 100%, show up and
Show up.
see the change. Because why?
Just keep
Your
showing up.
best, because
Yeah.
yeah, going back
Alright,
to the observation, that's what it is. So
cool.